welcome to the Ultra Running Sam podcast. So, quickly, our sponsors. We are proudly sponsored by Yugoku caps. You've seen me wearing them on the podcast. You can get the discount codes from me. Send me a message. I'll send them to you. They're floating around. We're also sponsored by Phoenix head torches. Same thing goes. If you're after a discount code, just get in touch. There are there on the web, but if you want them personally from me, I will send them to you. And also, finally, we are proudly sponsored by Home Trails. So Home Trails is my YouTube series interviewing famous trail runners from hopefully around the world at some point. In the UK at the moment, where we interview them on the trail in the home trails. You understand what it is, don't you? You've listened to the show. That's hopefully turning into a bit of a brand, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Okay, on with the actual show. Okay, folks, welcome to the show. Just before we have a chat with Chris, the key cobbler, for this week's episode, I just wanted to sort of interject a quick advert for Home Trail. So, obviously, you've probably seen episode 3 is now gone live on YouTube. So, Confidence with Kim Collison. So, obviously, it's all the background to the 3 DNFs over the past sort of 3 years leading up to this year with him winning the spine race. So, the usual sort of content from Home Trail. So we interview him, sat down in his kitchen, and then also go for a run on his local fell and have a chat about different stuff to do with the race, his training, his preparation. Even talks at length about the kit list and his quiet disagreements with some of the stuff that's on that list. But anyway, go watch that. And actually, what I need from you guys is a favor. So if you're a keen listener to the show, if you appreciate the podcast, and you have a YouTube account, what I'd love for you to do is for you to subscribe. So we're near the threshold now. I know this is like a young person thing to do, but for the channel, for the Ultra Running Sam channel, I've got 953 subscribers, and for me to have any hope of ever making any money from adverts, I need 1,000 subscribers. So we are 47. That's right, isn't it? My maths is terrible. That is 47 people I need to subscribe to the Ultra Running Sam podcast on YouTube. So if you could do that for me, even if you just set up an account and never use it ever again, just set it up just so that you can follow and you could subscribe. So I don't like asking for stuff like this, but if you are a fan of the show, then this is how you can do me a favor and just get the numbers up. And then maybe I'll be able to answer the wife's question of, will this ever pay off? Which for the last, I don't know how many years, it hasn't paid off, obviously. So it's a bit of a money pit for me, but I do it because I love it. And I know some of you guys love it. So if you can, get on to YouTube and subscribe to the channel, and that will help things. Happy wife, happy life, and all of that. Okay, it would be nice to see something come back from it, to be fair. Okay. Another quick advert before Chris comes on. Obviously you've heard me talk about Ranger Ultras and the PB 270 168. No, PB 270 13 and one PB 137 happening in April. So I've got Stu on to record with him tomorrow, so that will be like the world's biggest advert for Ranger Ultras anyway, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But obviously just interject a quick advert for Ranger Ultras. Go and have a look. They've got spaces left on. Got a race in a couple of weeks, PB 55. I'm doing that just to sort of get myself back into racing again for this year. So get on there and have a look at the Ranger Ultras races. Okay, Chris is in the waiting room now, so I'll pause recording and I'll see you in a second. Yes, we are recording again. So welcome to the Ultra Running Sam podcast, Chris Hulse. AKA the key cobbler.
That's me. That's
Yeah.
me.
Is it just it isn't just you, is it? There's a few of you.
No, there's only two of us.
Oh,
Well,
there's two.
yeah,
There's two of you.
there's me and there's my younger brother as well, but he's only 19, so he's a bit distracted
Apprentice.
at times. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's brilliant, and I enjoy working with him as well. Although we do argue a lot,
Yeah. The
but
standard
yeah,
sibling kind of
but
things.
my father-in-law it is his business originally. We're still in a partnership, but that should be ending this week, I think, and be all mine. Um,
Wow. Yeah.
which I've yeah, well yeah, touch wood it all because it's gone south quite a few times. So
Yeah.
gotta nail it this time. Gotta nail it.
Put a nail in that solve.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We need, yeah, no, it needs to get. Yeah, we're getting there with it. It's a hard one because uh, he's in he's been in ill health for quite a while.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, trying to find a solution to sort of not get rid of him, sort of
Yeah.
just
Fair
for him
enough.
to finish up and maybe retire now. Yeah, a difficult one, and it's been ongoing for about 2 years, but yeah, we've finally come to a solution last week, I think it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should be good now.
Exciting times ahead then. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll be able to spread my wings a little bit more in here and um, uh, just make more work for myself, I would imagine. Yeah,
Right, we'll get to all that and the waiting list and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, so the reason I've got you on is because you seem to be everywhere, all over social media, and I don't know whether this is something that's happened. I've been following you for a while, but now you're sort of being like tagged in loads of stuff to do with ultra running and trail running, aren't you? Because
yeah.
and your Instagram page is sort of like exploded, hasn't it? Is that sort of been like a gradual thing, or has it been quite quick?
So post lockdown, post COVID, we were we came back to work and all the work had dried up. All of our customers that we had originally had disappeared off the face of the earth, and it was a little bit like starting a business again.
Mm.
And that's when we started sort of like knuckling down on the social media side of things. Because what happened during lockdown, when we sort of were allowed to go back to work for a bit, we did a shoe repair post on. It was a pair of Doc Martens, and we used to be able to get the original materials
Mm.
from Doc Martin themselves, and we repaired this shoe, and it went viral in like Indonesia, and then it slowly moved its way across the globe over the space of about 6 weeks, and we were just getting all these views and comments and emails, and then from there we became the Doc Martin people to go to have your Doc Martens repaired, and we were doing them from all over the world. It was amazing. So we did them as far as Australia,
What?
all over Europe. I've now got some friends in Florida, California that I still keep in touch with because it's a little bit of a cult, the Doc Martin wearers. So yeah, that's how it started, and then that completely finished overnight. So that was gone. We got
Yeah,
told we weren't.
I saw that post that you'd been doing Doc Martin stuff, and then they suddenly decided they were going to do it themselves.
Yeah, yeah. So the issue we had, because we kept, well, one of the issues, we were stripping the supply, so no one else in the UK could get the soles because I was buying them all up as soon as they were back in stock. So there was quite a few upset cobblers with us, and some repairers which were pretty miffed off that I was taking them all. So that was one. So the supplier was getting grief. The main issue though was some pretty sneaky people were buying like colourful Doc Martens with like different uppers. They were having them resold, and because our soles had "Made in England" stamped on them, they were then selling them on like eBay, Vinted, and places, secondhand markets, as rare "Made in England" when they weren't.
Anyway,
And Doc Martin started seeing these, and they weren't happy about that either. And they wanted, obviously, they've got to protect the brand and stuff.
yeah.
So they ended up contracting it out to a larger company. And I got a phone call off the guy who owns this big company, just said, look, I'm sorry, but this is what's happening, and it starts today. So yeah, so I panicked a bit because I had just taken on two more people, one being my brother and one being my sister-in-law, to keep up with the demand for it. So that stopped overnight, and I panicked. And then the way we got into the running stuff was I had seen a customer had actually shown me a picture of these Vibram soles. And at the time, we were just a generic traditional cobblers that you'll get in any town or city. And we could only get a very limited supply of Vibram products. Anyway, fast forward a few months, we were away at a convention cobblers meetup thing, and Vibram were there, and they were telling us about this sole factor idea that they had. And basically what happens is traditional cobblers become what they call a Vibram sole factor store. It doesn't cost anything. I think it was about 500 quid in stock you had to buy initially. And you just got a range of these random soles to try. But you get put on the Vibram website as a Vibram approved cobbler. They check your work as well to make sure you're doing a decent job. And then over the years, it's developed into we get training now with Vibram. We actually do the training over Zoom or meetings. And when they told us that, I was like, this isn't gonna work, because to do it's all hands-on stuff. You need to be there with them. But they had like Britney mics on, and they had like all the machinery around them in Italy, and they were basically showing you like step by step, and it works really, really well. So yeah, I got into I managed to get hold of a couple of pairs of soles that were just lying around in warehouse, and then I asked them if we could start doing more of them, and they started shipping them in for us, and it's grown from there. And we caught the eye of one of the area managers for Vibram, and they noticed that we were doing like normal repairs, and at this time we weren't authorized for normal, but they were dead impressed with the job, and we became an authorized place for normal, the only one in the UK. So yeah, I was dead chuffed with that, and then yeah, just sort of worked with Vibram, and it sort of snowballed from there, and now I can't keep up with the work. So yeah, no, I'm dead pleased. I'm dead pleased with how it's turned out so far.
Busy. So is Normal, is that sort of, are they connected with Vibram then? Is it?
Yeah, so well, like Hoka, I mean, any running shoe that's got Vibram on the bottom would have collaborated and worked with Vibram in some sort of a way. With Normal, because they wanted to create a shoe which was repairable, which was designed to be repaired, they chose the Vibram Zegalite sole to go on, the Tomia, I can never pronounce the normals. There's the Kurge, I think it's the Kurge they call it, which is like the ultra light trail running one, the one that Killian Jornet wears all the time. But they say, you can use the Zegalite soles on all of them. You can use anything on them, if any of the Vibram soles. So customers get a good choice, a good range of, depending what they're running in. And Killian Jornet's even noticed us as well, so he's been liking a few of our videos and stuff, which was a nice surprise, which was really good. Bit of a confidence boost.
I wonder if that's like the Damian Hall connection, maybe, because obviously Damo's now he runs for them, doesn't he? So
yeah. So I've Damian has been. I've never met him, or not that I know of. I've never met him, and to be honest, because I only was aware of him maybe 2 years ago. But he was at Kendall Mountain Festival doing a big talk, and a customer came in the day after or a week later and was like, "Oh, you got a really big shout out on the stage last week. Damian Hall was, telling everyone to come here to get the shoes repaired." And I was like, "Oh, that's why we're a bit busier this week." And then over the past sort of few months, I've noticed he started following us on Instagram, and he started sharing a lot of our work and stuff. But I would like to work a little bit closer with the green runners over the course of doing this. So yeah, it'd be good to work with them a little bit closer, because we've met Darren from what do you call them? You're gonna kill me now. Darren from
PairUps.
the
Um,
he
not
patches the
pair,
shoes.
not PairUps. It's not
PairUps. Darren
PairUps.
from PairUps. Yeah, we met Darren at UTS at Snowdonia. And he had seen our work as well, and we've been working with him and stuff. So yeah, no, it'd be good. It'd be good to work with those guys a bit closer.
Yeah, it might even have been one of Damian's posts that I probably ended up in maybe. And I know he'd sort of and what sparked my mind recently is I think he directly tagged you on a post recently.
Yes, there was. There's been a couple. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's been a couple, which is nice. But the social media side of things, we haven't posted anything for about 2 weeks. Because sometimes the videos just they do really well. Like we don't pay for any like
Mm,
boosting or advertisement, and they just got. And I just get messages, but I get them from all over the world, so I just can't keep up with the messages. They all get lost within each other.
you
So
need a
yeah,
social media manager.
I do, yeah. Well, when my sister-in-law was working with us, she left last August. She did all the paperwork and she did all the social media stuff. So it was a lot easier. But she moved on to different things. So it's I've got to do it all now. Which I don't mind doing the social media stuff. It's the emails.
Yeah,
Emails drive me because there's not like a generic email I can just send back to someone. It's got to be tailored to what they
yeah,
need and
yeah.
what they want. So I have to do it as sort of quickly and as shortly as I can because some of these email threads can go on for
Oh yeah,
ages.
I can
So
imagine. Mm.
when you've got like, I just checked before, I've got something like 47 like fresh emails to go through, which I've had to like put a thing on website saying it's just going to take a bit longer for me to get back
Yeah,
to you
that sounds
because
like hell.
there's only so much we can like do ourselves. And I don't want to put like I don't want to put the pressure on myself too much. It's just not good,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and I don't want to lose interest.
You need like four of you in a second shop or something, don't you? Really? Well, I suppose
Yeah,
for the future, that's where you can take it, isn't it? Basically.
yeah, yeah. We could do. I mean, at the moment, we've got enough work for probably maybe four of us to be, churning it out all the time. But you've got to keep the demand up as well. But it's not just running stuff. We're still a high street cobblers, so we do all sorts of stuff. I've got no. There's literally just I've got in just before, and I was looking around thinking, oh my god, there's so much work to do. I completely forgot. Saturday night we went home, and I've just blanked everything out over the weekend. Come back and I'm like, oh, tomorrow's going to be horrendous.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be able to do that. I do the exact same thing with work. Yeah, I'm like do sort of manual work as well. I'm like hydraulic engineer, and I
Oh yeah,
sort of fix the machines by day. And I'll get home, and the wife will say, "Oh, yeah, what have you done today? How was work?" And I'm just like, I'm at
yeah,
home. I don't even remember work.
yeah,
What's
yeah,
work?
yeah. That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I'll remember it tomorrow.
yeah, and it's got to a point, in the past year or so where I'm just like, I can't because it's physically demanding. Like when you're on those machines grinding the soles off, we're around solvents all day. There's dust everywhere. You feel minging by end of the day. We're in a small shop, so it's either like really cold or it's mega hot. Um, so yeah, it does take it out of you. And the one thing I haven't done enough of is taking off breaks and holidays and stuff. But that's partially down to me,
Mm.
like worrying I'm going to miss out on something or um, everyone's going to disappear if I go on holiday for a week and the business will be ruined. I always go to the most extreme place. so
But I
so
suppose
yeah,
you've got a business, haven't you? So you've got to. It's always going to be on your mind, isn't it? That you
it
want
is. Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah,
ticking over. But yeah,
yeah,
the work-life balance thing is real. It will catch up with you eventually if you don't get it balanced out. Definitely.
yeah, yeah. And well, that's why I started running again because working when I was working 6 days a week, I was working late at night, and then I was coming in sometimes really early in the morning, and I felt I just don't have a life here. I
Mm.
don't have a life. I'm just slogging it out, paying all the taxes and the VAT and everything, and I'm like, what's the point? What is the point? So yeah, my wife was like, just take it easy, take it easy. So yeah, we try and keep things at a steady pace now. But yeah, we'll see. I'll probably have to take on another person this year at some point, even if it's just serving in the shop or helping repairs, gluing up. I mean, doing the work that, doing all the work, training someone up. But it is incredibly difficult to find people to do this job. It's as I say, it's very demanding. I did have I had a young lad, lovely young lad, and he just went, "There's too much going on. It's too fast paced for me. This is too much," and off he went. And I've had others that are, young lads, and they want to be YouTubers and stuff. So they didn't want to do the job, and I'm like, you can do that here. Do the YouTube stuff for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you can be a YouTuber.
Build the channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
The channel.
Because it's one thing we did, one thing we looked at, and I'm like, I just don't have time. I don't have time, so I'll have to put it on the back burner.
Yeah. What you need is you need like a you need a trail runner who's good with social media and
Yeah.
He's probably got a touch of ADHD.
Yeah.
So, so they
Yeah.
could be doing two things at once. Um,
Yeah, you've got to be on it in it, because when it goes wrong, it goes like, because you are always working on like several different things, where it's, like repairs, you'll have like 3 or 4 repairs on go at once, and you're cutting keys for people that are coming in, you're doing watch batteries. We had one incident last year where it was my day off. Actually, I was trying to relax at home, and a watch, which was about 2.5 grand, had gone missing, and it'd been given out to the wrong person. And yeah, I wasn't very happy, and I was pretty stressed out. But we managed to find it.
Did it come back? Did it come back?
Yeah, because I made the staff shut the shop and go and find that woman, and they found her. They found her. I was like, if you don't find that watch, neither of you got a job at end of the day. So yeah, no, it's a good job I've worked with family, because yeah, I think I would have been taken to a tribunal a few times.
Yeah, I work with family as well, so yeah, it works. It's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but sometimes it
Yeah,
gets you out of trouble. Sometimes.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So yeah, it's no, we're very, to be honest with you, we're very, very lucky, because I know, I mean, I've been doing this 10 years now, and I know a few people in the industry, and some of them are literally sat around all day waiting for something to come in,
Wow.
because they haven't kept up with times. The traditional side of things has died off a lot, and even when we speak to the suppliers, a lot of that traditional work is it just doesn't exist anymore. It's all part of this, like the post lockdown. People are working from home. They're not in the smart shoes. They're not in stiletto heels going to work.
Yeah, good point.
So yeah, no, it changed, and you've just got to keep up with change. You've got to keep up with the way the high street changes, and just try stay as relevant as you can.
So do you think
So
that sort of combinate the thing that sort of kept you busy is the fact that you are where you are, so you're in Kendal, aren't you? You're smack bang. Well, you're not smack bang in
yeah,
the lakes, but you are in the lakes, and people are there for a reason, aren't they? They're there hiking, they're there trail
yeah,
running, they're
yeah,
just
yeah,
basically outdoors. Um, so you would not naturally get a lot of people anyway, would you? But have you seen sort of like when we were speaking about Damo and everything, and the green runners and PairUps and stuff? So reusing things is like, not that it's like a fashion that's going to come and go, but it's people are very aware of it now, aren't they? Like sustainability, like normal, like creating a shoe that is designed to be repaired, whereas
yeah,
fast fashion traditionally was just like make a pair
yeah,
of shoes, took them away after 400 miles or something ridiculous like that. People are
yeah,
now
yeah, yeah.
people are now really conscious, aren't they, of making things go further. So do you think that is like a bit of a wave that you're riding at the minute with that?
Yeah, it is. So years ago, it was super popular. Then it died off, and then it became a bit popular again, and then it died off. And then COVID came, just ruined everything. And then with people are more aware now of fast fashion. You can see it with like brands like ASOS and stuff. The dying, like Boohoo, and I think there was another couple of those really fast fashion brands. Because I think one thing is, well, you'll know yourself how expensive it is to buy yourself a pair of shoes, or a running jacket, or whatever it is. It's not a cheap, it's not a cheap thing to do. So yeah, there is that. And because it's so expensive, people are more inclined to have something repaired, as long as we can make some money and give it a decent price point. Because I mean, if we weren't, we have to churn these soles out pretty fast because they are mega expensive. They're not cheap. And the odd time when, say, we've been roughing up a sole, if you pierce a hole in it, it's ruined. You can't do anything with it. You've got to chuck it in the bin. So you're 20 odd quid plus your VAT down already. So your margins are next to nothing after that. It's pointless sort of doing it in a way. So yeah, the fast fashion and things are more expensive now has changed a lot, and because we're not just seeing like the running side of things, we're seeing like fashion shoes coming in, which, I mean, I've always been quite careful of what I buy anyway, whether it's like running gear or just day-to-day clothes. I always make sure I'm wearing something which can be repaired. So like, yes, it's expensive, but they'll last me like ages, and I know I can get them repaired. So like, I wear Japanese denim, and I could get that repaired down the road in Kent. I've just had my jeans repaired, and I've never taken them off my legs, and I've got another couple of pairs at home that'll last me for years. Barber jackets, for example, I sent mine off last year to get rewaxed, fixed up where it had ripped and stuff. That was back, looks brand new. So yeah, it's if you look in the right place, and it's like there's a lady local to us, and I've forgotten her name again. I'm gonna have to give her a shout out because she's absolutely fantastic. But she's called Iron Keld Repairs, and she does all outdoor gear. So tents, backpacks, sleeping bags, down jackets, waterproofs, alterations, any old gear. She could turn jackets into bum bags. So yeah, and she's really busy as well. She can't keep up, and she now works with Innovate. She works really closely with Innovate because they're just up the road in Staveley. So
is it Renovate that
that's
they,
it? Yeah. Renovate. Yeah. So yeah, she's really busy as well. And the guys that I know in this industry that have kept up with times have taken the advice off, companies like Vibram, are all busy. They're all busy. So yeah, no, it's really good, and it's nice. It's nice to see because at one point everyone would come and go, "Oh, it's a dying trade. This, it's dying off," and I'm like, well, it will do if you don't keep up with times. You got to keep up with the times, So yeah, no, I'm very lucky now, and I know that I'm very lucky as well. So I don't take it for granted.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's got to be a concern, hasn't it? Because I can't imagine people coming in and saying stuff like that. And I suppose from the point of view that you were sort of talking about post-COVID of people not being in offices and stuff and not wearing out the smart shoes, then yeah, that I suppose that is the part of it that's dying. But you've also got the other bits that are growing, haven't you? So yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Keep up with the times.
I mean, yeah, and I know we're doing very well because we're getting used as an exit. Like I got a picture the other last week, and Vibram have places all over the world, but they've got this thing called a connection lab, and they've got one in Milan. I think there's one in Paris, and they've got one in LA. And there's a cobbler out there that I speak to every now and then, and they were using us as an example of what the guys in the States should be doing. They're going, look, you should be doing this. And they were like showing our videos of pictures and stuff, which was mental. It's just, it's nuts. So yeah, no, it's good to see. And it's it's good that, you know, people that have been following for a while that are quite well known within like sort of the ultra running community and trail running community, they've like started to get in contact now. And it's like, it's nice to be doing like things like this podcast, because working in retail and this job alone, you don't get treated very well. You've never been treated, even though it's a skilled job, you're not treated as a skilled person because margins are quite small. It's not as well paid as what, say, an engineer is, for example, you know. So you do get taught to like crap sometimes, which is not the best. And most people will just go, I want this doing, or pick them up and disappear. You never hear off them again. You get a quick thank you, there's your money sort of thing. But it's nice to see like people taking a real like interest in,
appreciating it.
Yeah, and appreciating us a bit more. But I think it's just a social thing, because you know, back in like the 1800s and 1900s, cobblers were always treated like dirt, like really poorly. They never had shops. They had like basements. So you might see really old pictures of cobblers working out from underneath the street, and people would literally go and chuck them the shoes like into the basement. Yeah, just like awful. I think it's just a bit of a social thing that's just gone on through time. And but no, it's nice when people appreciate what you do and appreciate your work. And we do get some nice feedback every now and then. You'll get, you know, like we had some guy doing the spine last year, and he got back in touch with us. Like, those soles were incredible. They made that race, and I got like my personal best doing this with them, and they were just far better when I was on the inclines. So yeah, no, it's good to hear, and yeah, it's nice, it's good.
Yeah, making a difference, aren't you? To yeah, I mean, because you know, I know people that have, you know, before I was like fully aware of you, I'd heard people telling stories about how they'd sent shoes to you to have like grip put on them. So there was a guy, I can't remember his name now, but he was doing like 100-mile ultra, and it was I think it was quite a runnable one, but it wasn't tarmac by any means. It was
Yeah,
runnable trail, and I'm sure he sent you some Nike. You know, it's like some Nike super shoes, and you put some tread on them for him. I can't remember what shoes they were now. But basically afterwards, like, he like credited it with, you know, with him winning that race, that he could run in like super shoes. And this is obviously like before super shoes were sort of going into the trail
yeah,
kind, like that sort of, because now you're seeing it, aren't you, now that where they're designing super shoes with trail grip on them, aren't they? But
yeah,
before, it
yeah,
was the road shoe, and someone, you know, got you to glue some Vibram like,
yeah. And we get a lot of people are starting to get quite creative with like what they want on the shoes. So yeah, we get some, what, you know, you usually wear for like a marathon,
mm,
and they're wanting like Peak District 9mm soles put on them, and I'm like, if that's what you want, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
and yeah, we get really good feedback, because I did a pair. I'm not sure if I get a photo up of them. I did a pair for they were like track shoes. They were so expensive. I was like too scared. They were brand new as well, and
Mm.
I just read the message when I was on my way up here. Adidas Takumi Sen.
All
Oh, I
right.
don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
So they've got all
Mm.
like the little cutouts. They've got the carbon fiber, and he uses them on a track and on road. And he got in touch and said, "Oh, what trail sole put on these?" And I'm like, "There's lots of little like deep
Wow.
crevices that I'd have to cut out." So it was a bit more difficult than just a normal resole. And because they're so lightweight as well, when you're taking the soles off on the machine, if you put too much pressure on, the rubber suddenly comes off. You go
Yeah.
straight into the foam, and
Ooh.
all that pressure, and then all the foam goes. So you've got to be super careful, which we've managed to sort of like get used to over time. But yeah, he had trail soles put on, and I never heard a thing off him. I was like, I don't know if this has worked well, or you know, I never got it. Anyway, he's 6 months later, he's just emailed, you know, message back saying, they're absolutely mint. Can you do me another pair? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it, let's do it. So yeah,
Amazing.
no, it's good. Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun as well when you're not working on like a standard pair of hokers and you've got something slightly different in to do. And
Mm,
yeah, no, it's really good fun.
yeah. Yeah, I know it's something that I've considered because I've got a pair of hokers that I absolutely love, and they're road shoes. So it's the Rocket, the Carbon Rocket X
Yeah,
two or something.
I've
Um,
no idea where they come up with these names from them. I've
yeah,
no, the names are nuts.
but this I absolutely love them. They're such a nice shoe, and they're not too like stack height. They're not massive, but they're like really responsive and springy. And I run in them, and I just think. I wish I could run, and I do run trails in them, but they're not anything, not, I live sort of like 20 minutes from the Peak District, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't go and run like over Kinder in them at all.
yeah,
But like hard packed trails, they're absolutely fine on. Um,
yeah,
so with them, I was like considering, I was like, should I send them? But I mean, because I've used them on road for ages, and they're starting to like wear, in the usual places where your foot will wear, like on the edge and stuff like that. How far can a shoe go before you can't resole it? If you think
as
about
long as
like
it's
super shoes and stuff and that type of foam and stuff.
as long as it's structurally sound, and as long as the customer is still comfortable in them, there shouldn't be too much of a change when you resole them.
Mm,
So I don't know what they feel like on your feet. So I always just say, look, if you still find them comfortable and you can still run in them, then they're worth a resole.
mm,
And then if you think you can get another, 600-700 miles out of them, but I mean, most of the customers that get back to us usually tend to get another like 1,000 miles out of the shoes once they've been resold. Because
mm,
what we're doing is we're putting on, because the foam can get damaged because they just put like bits of rubber on here and there. But when we resole them, you're getting yourself a full you're getting full rubber. There's going to be rubber covered over it. And sometimes even putting something like that on and taking bits of rubber off, we can still make them lighter weight than what they were originally.
mm,
Because these soles are super lightweight. There's
mm.
nothing to them. Um, so there's like 50% rubber in, less rubber than what there is in a standard Vibram sole, and on all of the light based stuff that we do. But we're going to be doing a new, well, it's not a new site, it's just one I've never stocked. It's called, I don't even have it with me, I don't think. It's called the Speed Start. Actually, I do. 30 seconds. I'll go grab you one.
We'll just entertain ourselves.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, that was quick. Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah, on the next floor. So that's going to be, well, you can see that
Yeah, I can see that.
is going to be the next sole that we're going to start doing. Um,
What size
and
lugs
that
are they then?
these will be like 2-3 mil lugs, but
Mm,
they're all slightly different and angled in different ways. I'll have to send you a photo of them. But then they're used for like road hard pack trails, like really hard pack trails.
yeah.
Nothing boggy or muddy. So yeah, we're gonna start doing that one soon. Because we got a few samples and they've been proved to be quite popular with some people. So yeah, no, it should be a good sole. I'm hoping.
Mm,
I'm
yeah,
hoping.
that's
So
nice.
which
Horses for courses, isn't it? I suppose. Yeah, you are you sort of getting like and I know obviously you're a cobbler, so you're an expert in shoes anyway, but are you sort of, feeling pressure to sort of recommend certain soles for certain shoes for certain situations and races and stuff?
yeah, so we've got two of the soles. I call them a good all rounder because you can use them pretty much on anything and anywhere. They've got the like 4.5 mil lugs. Um, so you can do like trails in them. You can run through on tarmac with them, no problem. Run through city centres, absolutely no problem. And they are, so get those out. So you've got this one, which is the trail resole.
Yeah.
So that's the trail resole. The trail resole has here,
Mm.
you can see there's like little lugs around the lugs.
Mm.
So the science behind it says that you get 25% extra traction from, say, the standard soles. So the trail resole, and then you've got the Zegalite, which is probably the most popular, which is that one. They're like my two good all rounders. You can use them for anything. Obviously the Peak District, which is a pretty popular one, especially this time of year and over winter, which is the 9mm lugs, really chunky lugs. That's good for, you know, really deep boggy trails, you know, fell running, because it's super grippy, especially on your inclines, because you can really because what they want you to do when you've got your shoes resoled is you need to force, when you put your foot down, put it down with some force. Don't be like tip tapping, like worried about slipping, because the more pressure, the more stickier it gets. So it's to give you confidence and build your confidence when you know you're on a bit of like dodgy terrain that you might usually slip on. And then what else have we got? So, I've got another new one actually. There's another new one, which I'm just waiting for the stock to arrive. And
you realize that you're like stitching yourself up with work now, aren't you? People
I
are
know,
gonna,
yeah.
I want that new one.
So this one I've been waiting for a while, and it should be landing on a plane anytime now. And that is the Zega Track. So this is the newest one that they've developed, and it's basically the same as the Zegalite.
Oh, yeah.
But they've made it wider, because these are quite narrow. So when you're like resoling pokers, because some of them are like boats, you can't always fit the soles on. So you have to trim a little bit around the sides, which you want to sort of avoid doing, really. So they've made them wider. And the other thing that they've done, what they noticed was, in between here on the forefront, there's no lugs. And that's where people were landing, and they were wearing this part out before they were wearing the lugs out.
Yeah.
So they've added 2 extra lugs.
Yeah.
And you also get the traction lug technology. So they've got little lugs. Yeah. So I think that's going to be quite a popular one. And they come in. They've done it in a new color as well. So they've got the blue, the black, and then they've got a orange as well, which is coming. Which I'm hoping it'll be at the shop this week. I'm hoping, but they're so expensive. I can't believe how expensive some of these soles are now. But they've got to come through customs and duties and stuff. It's nuts.
Yeah, importing things.
Used to be a lot easier. But I won't mention the B word.
Yeah, we have it with the thing, because I work for a German company, but they have like a UK office, but we still have to, because of obviously the EU and everything. It's weird. So we're basically getting parts from our mother company, and then we're having to buy them, and we're having to import them and pay all the import taxes and everything like that for essentially, you know, just moving it from one country. But you know, that's how it works.
I know. Yeah, yeah. I try not. Sometimes when people come in and go, "How much?" and I'm like, "Look, you've got to understand. This is what this is costing me." And you know, 5 years ago, it was not that much. Let's just put it that way. And so but you just work with what you got, don't you? So they're the 5. I think they're all the soles that we offer. But yeah, the Zegalite, the Zegalite and the Resoling Trail are like the good all rounders that a lot of people go for. I run in the Zega. I've got Zegalites on mine. Well, normal. The Tommy has come with them standard. Right. So yeah, I've got them on mine, and they're absolutely fantastic for just a good all rounder sort of thing. So yeah, I try not get too involved, because if someone's doing a 50k or 100k, And obviously, most people, I'll try them out before they do a big race in them. But I try and I'll give them all the info that I've got about the soles, and then let them make a decision, because they're going to know the terrain better than what I do. They're going to know how, how they run, their style of running. So yeah, I do try and leave it to customers, but I will give them a little bit of my own opinion, a bit of input. But yeah, no, it's on the customer.
Yeah.
Or I try to. I don't want anything coming back on me if someone has a bad race.
Yeah, let them make the decision. But then I suppose if somebody's coming to you, then
Yeah,
they've already kind of figured out what they're going to do, haven't they, and decided
yeah,
what.
they will do. They would have seen one of our videos, or it's usually someone who's spotted them at a race. Um, so that, yeah, they'll have a good idea of what they want, or they'll show us a picture or whatever, and yeah, we're quite happy to do whatever, as long as we can do it. We'll do it for them.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
no, it's yeah, plenty to choose from anyway.
yeah, yeah.
Plenty to choose from.
Lots of choice. So I've got a question for you that
Yeah,
whether you'll answer this. It's kind of like ultra running gossip, but without naming any names. Somebody told me that quite a very famous UK trail runner came in who has just changed his shoe brand. Um, I can see you smiling. We
yeah, yeah, yeah.
don't have to name names, but um, he went from a trail running brand that made very well known trail running shoes, and he went to one that wasn't so associated with trail running as much. Um, and you put some new soles on them. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this wasn't so long ago. Yeah, I spoke to him, and look, he was sound. Everything was sound. I said, "Oh, we're doing lots of recording this week," because we were doing a lot of recording lots of shoes. I said, "I'll let you know when they're ready, and I'll send them your way." And but the one thing I didn't do, and I made sure I didn't do it, was I didn't put any names in the content. I I didn't want to do that. Anyway, he loved them and whatever, and that the weekend of that big race, it was the Friday night. I was just getting into the car in the car park, and I got this message, and yeah, it was a bit. To be honest, I was gutted, because obviously people on the internet can find that, they work things out themselves, and if you like the way algorithms work,
Yeah.
if you've got a blue tick and you like a video, then your people are going to see it. And anyway, there was quite a few people unhappy, because they ended up with a slew of messages when I travelled back to Lancaster, and I just went, look, I'll delete it. It's fine. I don't want to upset anyone. It's just a video. So yeah, it went a bit wrong. But I said to him, look, I haven't done any. Because I felt like I'd done something wrong, and I was properly gutted. I felt like I'd let someone down, and I was like, well, I wasn't my intention at all. And like a week had passed since you had them and you liked them. So yeah, no, I was I was a little bit gutted about that, but it is what it is. So I'm sure I'll bump into him at some point and see him and sweeten it over with him. But yeah, there was a few. I couldn't believe how high, a few higher ups, I think, that were quite upset. But it's what it is.
But he did win the race, didn't he? So.
He didn't run in the ones that we did.
Oh, didn't he? Right.
No,
Okay.
no,
Right. Know that
no.
detail.
But we did have one of the female runners, uh, Gemma, came second in the 50, and she was wearing a pair that we had done a few months back for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice to see my blue soles on someone's shoes, like when they were running away. And we'd done quite a lot for that race, so I was trying to keep track of everyone and see how everyone got on. And it looked like most people had a really good race. And there was a few DNFs, but you get them, don't you? Yeah, but a lot of them were doing the 100 miler.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's good to see, like people happy. I don't like people being unhappy and stuff. So especially when it's over social media, I don't.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Not
I
worth
get it.
it.
Ain't got time for that.
No,
Do you think that is this sort of like a bit of a, do you think it'll be like a bit of a wake up call for some trail running shoe brands that they need to sort of up the game with, or do you think it's just like going to be just the natural progression of super shoes is going to sort of go that way anyway?
no. I, no. I think it has to change. I think it will change because it most trainers will get sent abroad and they'll end up in landfill or they'll end up in the sea. There's a few good documentaries because there's some really big brands that have tried to do a recycling thing,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
you can't recycle them. I know there is someone at the moment who's I think the crowdfunding to create this big recycling machine which separates all the materials. Um, but yeah, a majority of them will end up in landfill. I've never seen any evidence or like video footage, apart from a firm in I think they were in Brazil, of them actually being able to recycle the different parts out of them and turn them into like tables. And I think there was one they made like a basketball court. They used like the bits of rubber to make a basketball court out of. So yeah, no, it'll definitely change. And in the past year alone, things have changed. So um, obviously we got like normal. If you go away from the running stuff, you've got like Dolomite. They've got because there's a campaign that Vibram run that we work with them and a lot of other cobblers do from around the world called the Repair If You Care campaign. And a lot of companies are getting involved in that, where Vibram will work out what sole's best for that shoe to be resold, and then they'll give us the training on resoling them. So like Dolomites, who's the other one I've got wrote down? Technica. Who else? There's a brand called Dainese that do mountain biking shoes.
I don't need stuff, yeah.
Vibram just released a video yesterday of Hoka have just released a sandal that is fully resolable. It was an American style video, so I don't know if it's just in the States at the moment, but I'm sure that'll be one that we'll be doing at some point. And that's fully resolable. So yeah, brands they have to become more aware. They have to be. I can't see how they can avoid it because even with there's a lot of like smaller clothes companies now which are doing, like a buyback scheme. You can send in your stuff for repair. Like Patagonia have been doing it for years with their stuff. You can have their, that stuff repaired. And to be honest with you, most stuff can be repaired. Most stuff can be repaired. It's like we did a short reel on a pair of Innovates that I picked up from. I actually picked them up off Darren at UTS last year that were heading for the recycling. And what we did was, rather than resoling them to running them again, we resold them so you could just use it as a generic shoe. So I'll take these for example, like the ones I've got on my feet today. Oh, so these are my New Balance that I bought them off Vinted for about a tenner. And the soles were knackered on them, so I took them off and like completely like changed the midsole and then the outsole. It's like this rocking shoe now. It's great. So you can literally anything can be repaired, resold, customized, and we are seeing it like gain traction. I mean, we're only a tiny company, so we're only doing a very small amount of shoes that are sort of like everyone's got in the wardrobe and worldwide, and stuff that's given to the charity shops every year or chucked into landfill. But we did, like for example, last week we had a Japanese pair of football shoes in.
Saw them, yeah.
yeah, the guy emailed from London and was like, "Look, I've got this idea of doing this with them and this," and I was like, "I think I could, we'll be able to make that work." And we basically turned this Japanese football shoe into a wearable everyday trainer, which was really cool to do. And the guy was absolutely over the moon with them, absolutely loved them. So yeah, there's anything can be repaired. It's just it's educating people, and that's the hard thing to sort of get across, because it's getting there's like a barrier of like the cost of doing it, and you've got to get people to trust what you say. And yeah, I mean, we're getting there. We are getting there. It's just hard to sometimes tell someone it's going to cost them 80 quid to repair £100 pair of shoes. And I'm like, well, why don't you change the look of them? Change the midsole. We'll change the midsole for you. You know, we'll put like something really cool on and completely give it its own look. So yeah, no, it's good to do.
How far can you sort of go with shoes then, as far as like, like you were sort of showing that midsole and everything. So
Mm,
in my head, I was thinking, you've got a shoe with a midsole that's got life left in it,
yeah,
and you resoling the sort of the outer of that. But I've not really even like thought about you sort of taking
yeah.
the midsole out and doing stuff like that. How far can you go with that kind of thing then?
So say with like the running stuff, it's hard to at the moment. There's no Vibram haven't come up with a sort of like midsole and sole what we call a unit. They haven't got one specifically for running. So what we try and tell people is you can have, a turn it into an sort of everyday trainer that you'd wear, but you can literally strip them right. You can strip them right back. Like, hang on, I've got here. So this is another pair we're working on, and I've already completed one, so I could show you. So these are a Ultra Boost. So the
Oh yeah.
Ultra Boost. So
Mm.
we've stripped it, so there's
How
no
far back?
midsole on it anymore. And then what we can do is put something like that on.
Mm.
So he's not
Looks
going
as
to be able
good as
to
new.
run in them,
Yeah.
but you know he's got a bit more life out of his shoes, because there's nothing wrong with the upper, nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it. No, it might be a bit dirty, but a quick clean won't do any harm.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, it's trying to get that message across, and that's where like Instagram works really, really well, because we can do the only thing is you've got to do the clips really short, because no one's got
People get
a long
bored.
attention span anymore. So at first it was pictures, and now you can't even put a picture up because no one sees them. No one wants to look at a picture. You've got to
No
put
one
a video
cares.
up. So yeah, they have to be like 20 seconds long max, or people just tend to lose interest and they'll skip past it. Um, so yeah, that's where we can we can show it like step by step of how we do it. But yeah, it's I love doing stuff like this. But obviously they're a lot weighty, he's not gonna be able to run in them or out.
Yeah. Well, it's giving them a
But he
new
knows
lease.
that. I always tell the customer he won't be able to run in them. But yeah, it's giving them a new lease of life, and he'll have them for another 10 years.
Yeah. Has there been any shoes that have been an absolute disaster? Like you thought that you could sort of do something with them, and then they came out like Frankenstein's monster.
Trying to think, what
I
have I
don't
done
suppose
where
you're
I've
gonna say
gone?
you're not really gonna say yes, are you? Because it's not really.
No, 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 no. I'm pretty honest. Like, uh, when stuff goes like, no, we have had a few where I've resold them, and I've just gone, that is it's just I've just done a bad I've just had a bad day, and it's a bad day, and I've just gone bad repair. I've not concentrated, and I've taken too much off the heel, or when I've grinding it off. And but a lot of the times when you think you've done a terrible job, and they say the customer comes in to pick them up, they're like, that is amazing,
Mm.
that's brilliant, I can't believe you've done that. And I'm like, if one of my colleagues had done this, they'd be getting a written warning. Like, like So yeah, no, and I'm quite open and honest with customers. If I don't think it's up to our standards, you know, I won't charge them, or I won't charge them the full amount. But considering how many shoes we get through, it's very little, very little. But I mean, actually, tell you what, it's just reminded me that the first pair of running soles I did. So when I got these in, I had no training on them, and they're quite a difficult sole to apply. It's not just a standard normal sole, because they're like paper thin, so you can like scrunch them up. But what they have on the back, because they don't have they've got 50% less rubber. They've got this nylon sheeting, but the nylon sheeting's covered in rubber, or a very light coat of rubber. So you've got to rough this surface up. And luckily, it was a local customer, but he was doing I think it was a 50k race up in the lakes, and I'd done him a pair of Peak Districts because the weather was terrible. And he went out running in them, and they fell off. They just fell off. And luckily, his support team had a pair of backup shoes for him, so he just switched shoes and he was all right. But I'd had said to him, like, before he went out in them, you know, just be a bit wary. Like, this is the first time I've used these things. But then we got like the proper training on them, and the proper adhesives, because a lot of people will just think we just glue and then you stick them on. But there's like a science lesson behind it all.
Talk us through that, because I mean, I'm like a hands-on guy, and I love that kind of stuff. And I know people will be listening and thinking, "Oh no, it'll be a bit boring," but some people will absolutely love it. Just sort of talk us through what you do first and how the process.
So you start by you've got to remove the rubber off your shoe. So you basically, some cobblers will heat it up and peel it off. I find it's more effective to use the bands on the machine and scrape it off. And when you get used to scraping it off on the machine, it gets hot itself, so you can peel it off once you get like a really thin layer. But I find that if you don't get it hot enough, when you're peeling it off, you can peel the foam, like chunks of the foam off as well. So you got to be careful. So once you've got like a nice, decent surface, smooth surface, got rid of all the rubber, you've then got to rough your sole up. Now, there's two ways of roughing these up. You can use your bands on the machine, but these bands are like 24 grit, so they're like glass. If you catch your hand on it, you know about it. And if you had like a ring on or anything that got caught on the machine, you wouldn't have much skin left on your hand. They're absolutely lethal. So you can rough them up on the machine. Takes a bit of use getting to know how much pressure to put on. And the other thing you want to avoid is scraping away the nylon, because if you scrape away the nylon, it's more likely going to perforate when someone's out running. No, you want to avoid that. So once you've roughed the surface up, we've then got two primers we've got to use. We've got to use a primer on the rubber, and that's got to set for about 25 minutes. And then we've got a primer which you use on the midsole. And basically what that does, that soaks into the midsole, into the foam, and it gives us a really good surface to glue to. Now, there's two glues that we use for gluing up these soles. They're all the products we use are Italian, and they're incredibly expensive, so you've got to use it wisely. One of the glues is really difficult to keep because it needs to be stored between, I think it's 15 and 24 degrees. If it goes above that, it sets. If it goes below that, it sets. So like the past 2 weeks, I've been ordering this certain type of glue, and every time it's turned up, it's already set, and I've had to send it back. So we've got another glue which isn't as volatile, but it's still just as good. It's just a bit more expensive. So we've got like, because we do that many shoes, we've got like a Tupperware thing. We fill that up with glue. You've then got to use a cross-linking agent and an additive into the glue, which is roughly about between 5 and 8% you want to use. You've got to mix that all together, and then once it's mixed, you've got to get it used or it sets. Once you've got your shoes glued up and your soles glued up, you've then got to wait another 25 minutes for the glue to set. So the glues, a lot of people think glue's sticky, but the glues we use, it's not. It's sticky when it's wet, but when it sets, it's not going to stick to anything. We then heat up the soles, and then we heat up the midsole. You need to get them to, I think it's about 60 degrees. You get used to it after a while just by touching and feel. Once you've got them up to about 60 degrees, you can then place them on, but you got to get it right first time, because if you don't get it right first time, your sole's in the wrong place. Getting it off's a nightmare, and you'll more than likely ruin the sole, so it gets chucked in the bin. And I mean, every now and then it happens. You just miscalculate where it's going, because the thing with these soles, all of the running stuff, and well, a lot of the Vibram stuff, each there's 4 sizes of each sole, and they'll do. So, for example, this one does 40. I don't know if you can see it, 42 to 44.
Yeah.
And there's like a little guide on the back for us, which you've got to remember. You won't be able to see it on camera. There's a guide up here which has got your sizing on. So you've got to get that in the right place. Once that's done, we've then got a special press that we've got. So yeah, we put lasts in them. They get put on the press. The press is set at about 1.5 psi, and it's basically, it's like a big balloon that covers the sole and the shoe. We leave that on for about 20 seconds. That's taken off. We double check it round, and then they're left to set overnight. Then once they're set, we can then trim them around the day after and check for any imperfections or anything. So yeah, it's not like you can get them done in an hour. Yeah. And like the glues themselves. So for the primer for the midsoles and the foam sets us back about 200 quid for 3.5 litres. Wow. Which is just astronomical. The glue itself is just a little bit cheaper, and again, that's 3.5 litres. The cross-linking agent is about 1 litre, and that, I think that's about 90 odd quid now. And then what else is it? The primer. The primer's the only cheap thing. It was about 15 quid, but you've got to get the full litre used within about 20 days before it goes off, and you have to get a new one. So yeah, it's not as straightforward as just gluing it on and then you're done. Yeah, if you want to do a proper job, where you want to make sure that you don't want anything going wrong, especially when people are doing these races, and you'll know how much some of these races mean to people and stuff. So you want to make sure it's right for everyone, and you don't want anything coming back. So I mean, touch wood, I think I've had 2 pairs. I've had that first pair that went horribly wrong, and then I had another pair which we're still not too sure what wrong with those. We think it was a dodgy primer, because the primers can go off after a while. That's why you've got to try and get them used as quickly as you can. So yeah, it's not a straightforward process that like people would think it would be.
That's not too bad strike rate though, is it? Like 2 out of how many thousands of pairs of shoes?
Thousands, yeah. Unless there's some that people haven't like come back and said, like, this has gone wrong. But most people will say something if someone's gone wrong. Because I want to get it right as well. I need to know if I'm going wrong anywhere. Yeah. And I definitely don't want to be upsetting anyone, because social media and forums can be quite nasty at times. So every now and then I'll have a check to see if we've been mentioned on any of these forums, and you come across one or two. You can't please everyone, and my wife's like, look, you can't please everyone, just but yeah, no, I'm very proud of what we've achieved and what we've done with all this, and the success rate we've had with it. It's just, it's an expensive job for us to do,
because it is like I think when you sort of being just like an everyday punter with shoes and just think, oh, I'll go and get my shoes like resold. Unless you've had it done before, you don't really have any frame of reference for how much it would cost to have it done.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah,
and if people sort of look at your prices and go flipping heck, that's pricey
yeah,
for
yeah,
that's almost like half the price of the original shoe.
yeah,
But when when you're listing off all those ingredients you've got to use, all those different primers and glues and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah.
you can quickly
It
see how the
it
costs absolutely mount up, don't they?
yeah. I mean, you can get cheaper glues, but I've used the cheaper glues and the cheaper primers before, and they're not. You can when you're using the stuff, you can see the difference. You can tell the difference straight away. And it's just for the sake of a few quid. It's not worth it. Um, yeah, it's not worth upsetting people over, especially when you're trying to run a small business.
Yeah, that's it. Reputation's everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
Really.
it is. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, what's have you got any brand of shoe that you hate doing? Like if a certain pair of shoes come in and you go, oh, not these again. Is there anything like that? Or
Um, there's some of the right. Hoka are great, and we do loads of Hokas, but some of them are absolutely like they might be a size like 7, but the soles on them are they're massive, and like we can use a size 47 sole, and it's still not big enough for the size 7 shoe. Just because some of them are like boats. A lot of like the walking boots that Hoka do now are absolutely huge. There are some. There's I won't name them, but there's one brand in particular, and I just think they're horrifically made. They're terrible, and we get loads of them in, not even for resoling, just for gluing back together and trying to stitch them back up and stuff. Um, but yeah, I think they're absolutely horrendous. And I think it's pretty much every model that they bring out is bad.
you can
Um,
you can tell me who they are after we've stopped recording.
yeah, 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 yeah. I will do. The but there's so there are some like VJs. VJs are I think are absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastically made. The rubber on them's already really sticky and really grippy. It's a really good rubber compound that they've got. And we very rarely get them in for like gluing back together. Um, as I say, the Hokas, you get them. Ultras, Ultras can be a bit difficult to do because they've got the wide toe box at the
Mm.
front. Um, so they can be a bit. Some of them can be tricky. Um, I mean, I've got a guy at the moment. He's just dropped off his ultras, and he's like a size 14. So the soles that he has the Peak Districts on his, and we said to him the only way we can get these to fit in the largest size is to literally chop it in half, and you basically just have a gap in the middle. And he said, do you know what? Let's try it and see what happens. Anyway, I think we've done about 4 pairs for him, and he's just dropped off another 2. And they're
Wow.
brand new as well. That's one thing I can't get my head around. I can get my head around it, but people send us brand new shoes,
Mm.
like straight from the manufacturer or straight from the supplier, and have
I
them
can see
resold.
that. I can see that with because over the years I've had a lot of ultras
Yeah,
and certain shoes that they I'm trying to remember the names which ones they are now which I absolutely love the Olympus. So the
yeah,
Olympus is the
yeah,
one like the biggest stack height, but they've got that
yeah,
weird foam bit in the middle, haven't they, that just
yeah,
literally
yeah,
disappears like straight away. So
yeah, yeah,
I can fully understand somebody buying a pair of them because they love them because they're so comfortable
yeah,
and then having them resold just so that so I've got a very not I won't say fond memories, but I've got memories of trying to come down the back of Helvellyn in a pair of Olympus and just on the long grass just sliding on my backside, just slipping, sliding
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
I'd worn those Olympus in like a couple of races and I hadn't noticed that the tread had gone in the middle at all.
yeah,
And I found out as soon as I got on that wet grass coming down the back of like sticks and coming down the
yeah,
back of there, and just I was just spent more time on my backside than I did on my feet, and I thought then I'm like I need some new shoes, and I'm thinking no, I don't need new shoes. These are just it's literally just that bit of tread is gone.
yeah. It is. Yeah, a lot of it does come like the way that Vibram designed these soles as well is like. I mean, something like that people will go, oh, there's not much to it, but there's so much science that goes into designing these soles and designing the angles of the lugs and where the lugs will be placed and stuff, that they really do make a massive difference, even if there's not, it doesn't look like they would do from just, you know, looking at them. And that's another thing that we have to get across to customers is like, look, trust us on this, because this is what they are specifically designed for. Like you've got, like, say for example, like the approach, like we get loads of approach shoes in, and this is the approach sole that Vibram have designed specifically for approach shoes. Trying to sell that is like not necessarily in pink, but trying to sell it in a black, it's hard to get people to understand why the lugs are that shape and why they've got all this on them and the rubber's here and that's there. But yeah, they've got huge. I think it's in China. It's like it's a big like lab, and they've got like rooms dedicated to different terrains and different. So they've got like an Arctic room where they did do all their Arctic grip stuff, and they've got like these like man-made sort of like mountains. There's no pictures of it on the inside. This is just what I've been told from someone who's visited, because you're not allowed to take photos. But they've got there's all sorts going on, and this is where they test all the soles out.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot that goes on behind it.
It's interesting because you know, they put a lot of trust in like volunteers at races, don't they? Because like some races, the volunteers will check your shoes like to make sure that they are trail running shoes and they've got enough grip, and you'll get like pulled up by you know, race people checking your kit, like a kit check. So it's interesting actually, because you think that might come up, that someone might look at the sole of your shoe and go, oh, that's not a trail running shoe, whereas, you know, like the one that you showed that with the one with all the, they might say, well, that's not enough grip, and you might be like, well, actually, you know, it is.
No, it is. It's designed. Yeah. And so trying to get people to understand that is can be difficult at times. But you just, as I say, you just let the customer decide, and it's up to them what they want at the end of the day. But like, if I was to resole an approach shoe and they wanted a different sole, I'll go, no, this one you'll get longer out of. Or it's the same with the running stuff, you know. You know, if you're running on, I had a guy who was doing a big trail run, but a lot of it was on and off the trails, and he wanted the Peak District, and I'm saying like, no, because as soon as you're on the concrete with that Peak District, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for you, and if you've got a few miles to do on the concrete and on the paths and the roads, it's not going to be ideal. But they still go for it anyway. You just leave them to it. It might be comfortable for them. They might not mind. It's just I try and get it across to them that it's not specifically designed for that. It's designed for mud and clawing onto rocks and you know, really sharp terrain. But yeah, you just, at the end of the day, you just let the customer decide what they want.
Yeah, customer's always right.
Customer's always right. Well, yeah. Just got to bite your lip.
So what have you sort of got planned for this year then? You know, we're well into a new year, aren't we? We're into, you know,
we're well into the new year. So the first thing I've got to do is get this business sorted with a business partner. Once that's sorted, which should hopefully, as I say, be this week, I can then start looking at some events. So we have got one booked in which is a fell race in the Scottish Highlands, and it's called Ben. I'm probably going to say this wrong. Ben Chonzie, Chonzie. Ben Chon. It's probably said slightly different, but we're going up. We've got it. That's about 4.5 hour drive. I was like, yeah, I'll do that, and we're sponsoring the race as well. So, we're going to be up there showing our stuff off, and because it's a brand new race as well, so we want to support those guys because it's quite grassroots. And then I was on the I've forgotten her name now. One of the ladies who runs the UTMB stuff. She does UTS.
Yeah.
We should. I haven't penciled it in yet, but we should hopefully be at Snowdonia in May. Is it May? April or May?
Yeah.
May. So we should hopefully be down there as well, but we won't be we'll be there on our own. We won't be. Last year we were with Vibram. This year it'll be just us. Vibram can't make it this year, so we're trying to work out what we could possibly do, because obviously last time we did all the resoling free of charge. Well, it was free of charge for the customer, that I got paid by Vibram, but this year they're not doing it, so I'm just trying to work out whether we'll do some like free resoling, or I'm sure we'll try work something out, and we'll do something. Maybe give some free souls away and stuff, and so hopefully she'll be doing that. And then I'd like to get involved with doing a few more races this coming year, and some events. I'd quite like to. I know it's not till next year now, but the national running show, I'd like to attend that. So that's something I was looking at. So yeah, but we want to concentrate. The orders are still flying in for all the running shoes, so we'll carry on with that. The other thing that Vibram do want me to get into is rock climbing, rock shoes. So that's something else we need to look at. But again, it's time. It's finding the space for machinery and stuff. So it's whether I can get another staff member as well. That's the other thing. Because
So here's your chance to put an advert out for
yeah, if you want a job in a few months' time, come and see us.
Yeah.
Come and see us. Yeah, because as I say, it's very full on, but and we have only got a small shop, so you are like clambering over each other. I say we've got a small shop. We've got a small shop, but we've got 4 floors. It's quite a big. You've got 4 floors going up. But you can't get any machinery up there. It's a listed building. It's old. It's a bit knackered upstairs, so you don't want anything too heavy up there. So yeah, no. I'd like to diversify, and I'd like to do as well. I bought a really, really incredibly expensive steam cleaning machine last year, and it's for steam cleaning shoes and trainers, and it's also got on like a gas chamber, an ozone chamber. You can put shoes in that stink, and it will just kill all the bacteria, all the nasty stuff, and they'll come out just no odor. It's incredible. We had a pair of shoes come in, this dunk of cat weight, and I was like, I'm not touching these. This is like horrendous. Anyway, my brother chucked them in on the machine upstairs, left it half an hour, went back to him, gone. Unbelievable. Give him a clean up, and we repaired them. So yeah, but I haven't made the most of that machine. So I'd like to be clean, because one thing I don't think runners are good at is just rinse your shoes off, clean your shoes.
Yeah.
The uppers won't tear as easy, because all that, like all the little rocks and all the crap that they pick up, it acts like as an abrasive, and it just breaks down the material on top, and they will last so much longer if you just rinse them off. You don't have to like drench them. You don't have to don't ever chuck them in the washing machine.
Wow, no, yeah.
No, don't do that. I've seen it. We get them in so many times. People chuck them in the washing machine. The uppers shrink, or the soles will shrink, and they just won't. They never go back on properly. And don't kick your shoes off as well. That's another pet hate. Kicking shoes. I mean, I do it, but like, say for example, when we've repaired, like it's usually kids shoes, and people, this has come off, and I'm like, it's come off because you're kicking your shoes off, and they're like, no, I don't. I'm like, I can see the marks where you literally sat there going, both kicking them off. I can see the evidence. So yeah, kicking shoes off, that's another pet hate. But yeah, no, so yeah, there's quite, yeah, it's, as I say, it's just time. It's time, and it's whether I want to take on more and more work, because we've got it good at the moment. We're quite happy with the amount of work, and I don't want to be that person that's always chasing that next thing or the new thing, or because I just, by the time I think I've got to that thing, there's somewhere else, and then I'll be dead. So let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Well, I hope this doesn't act like too much of an advert for you, and you get like inundated
No,
with
no, no. I
stuff.
know. I'm
Just keep
glad.
it coming steady.
I'm really glad this is. It's really nice to have done this, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see someone taking notice and
Well,
appreciating what we do.
yeah, I know. I'm a bit of a well, I was say I'm a bit of a shoe nerd. When you've been running for many years, you just get used to trying different shoes and stuff,
Mm,
and the sort of the technical side of things. And I love that kind of stuff, and I know that my listeners will appreciate it. And if they don't, then they'll listen to 5 minutes of this and then they'll turn it off. So
yeah,
it's up to them.
yeah.
But I appreciate what you and I know
No,
a
thank
lot
you,
of people
thank you.
appreciate what you do, and especially in these times as well that we live in of you know not everyone has got the money to buy new shoes all the time. People
Yeah,
want things go further and look after the stuff, and it's obviously better for the environment if you're not sending a pair
yeah.
of shoes to landfill. You keep reusing them, so what you
You
do
know,
deserves the credit. Yeah.
yeah. The thing is, we are a small family business, and if we've been in Ken on Kendall High Street now for like 40, just over 40 years.
Wow.
So we appreciate it, and people that do appreciate us, we're very generous, and I've done shoes for free for people if and or if they've said, oh, it's a bit short of cash, this they'll give them have 10% discount. I'm not making as much, but someone else is happy, and I just hope that gets passed on. So
Mm,
yeah, no, we're pretty nice and pretty relaxed if people are
yeah.
the same with us.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Brilliant. Yeah.
got to be.
Well, appreciate you coming and giving us giving us the background information and giving us the gossip, even though we didn't mention any names. Uh, appreciate you,
Yeah.
appreciate
I
you
didn't
coming
realize
on.
it. I didn't realize people had heard this far away. So someone actually was in the shop last week and mentioned it. I was like, oh my god. I was
It's a
like,
small world. It is a small world. The ultra running niche of a niche. Everybody
yeah,
knows everybody else's business. So
that's good. That's good. As long as everyone's, we just want to keep everyone happy. That's it.
yeah, that's it. Right. Cheers, Chris. Appreciate you coming on and chatting. And if there's anything that any links or anything like that that you want me to put in the show notes and stuff, just let me know and I'll put it
Yeah,
in.
yeah. No, we'll do
If you
absolutely.
want me to put an advert for staff in it, then I can do that as well.
Yeah. No, I could. Yeah, I could do. Yeah, I need to. I need to. My wife will make that decision. I can never make decisions. I get her to make all the decisions.
Yeah, that's always the best thing to do. Let
Yeah,
the yeah.
yeah.
Right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you giving us some of your time, mate. And I look forward to
No.
actually seeing you in person at some point. I'll pop into the
Yeah,
shop.
we will do. Well, mate.
Yeah, it'd be good to see you in person or at a race or something like that. So,
Yeah,
cheers,
absolutely,
mate.
absolutely. All right,
Thanks
thank you.
thanks for listening, everyone. Cheers. See you.